I want to draw 6/5 pentagram and hexagram. Recently I've been posting some stuff regards to people such as Paracelsus and these alchemists who spoke about the theory of microcosm and macrocosm. You'll often find said that the hexagon and the pentagon with equal edge lengths also represents the microcosm and macrocosm. I haven't been able to find any connection to that going back to that period, but I want to draw the construction, and I'll put some links in the description where I've done some other, like I replicated Albrecht Dürer's Pentagon, which is not perfect, and I'll link that in the description. I believe that it was imperfect and for a very perfect reason. I did a variation on Durer's construction as well. I'll link that in the description. But firstly, let's draw a geometrically, mathematically perfect one, and this relates to the golden number. So before I ramble on about the golden number, let's just do the construction, and we begin with a construction line. And I'm going to be using 2 compasses. I want to keep them as accurate as possible. So this one will be our basis, and we begin with a vesica. So without changing the compass settings, the center of a second circle on the edge of the first. Now, because where the circles intersect, we can draw a line there. Now place your point. Because I'm rushing a little bit, I'm using thicker tips, and I want it to show up on the camera. I have tested this in GeoGebra. I'll link that in there as well. So we haven't changed the compass setting. I'm going to draw with our now on the center of that. And now what we have is a triangle. So that point, and that point. Now let's call this distance 1. So the half setting of the compass would be 1. Therefore the compass setting would be 2. Therefore this triangle, based on Pythagorean theorem, this hypotenuse of that right angle triangle has to be the square root of 5. Square root of 5 plus 1 over 2 equals 5, a golden number, 1.6180339887 off onto very long sequence. That's the golden number. And now because we have the square root of 5, I'm going to set my compass to there. Okay, so therefore, this is 0, therefore this distance here is 1. Square root of 5 plus 1, I'll draw that circle. Now because of the thickness of the tip, the illustration I'm going to show won't be perfect, but again tested it in GeoGebra. This is geometrically perfect if you construct it. So this distance from here to here is equal to the square root of 5 plus 1. Square root of 5 plus 1 over 2 equals 5. So therefore this distance is 2 phi, or 3.23 06, etc. 06, on and on it goes. So it's 2 phi. So now what you have to do is bisect this distance, and I'll be going back to the original compass, and that's why it's important to keep that original setting. Now you can just change as you go, but if I place this on the edge, I draw one more circle, and now we have all the points we need to construct a perfect pentagon. And those are this one, and this one. So put my point there, and I go through. I do the same again, and this time through that other triangle. And from here back to the center. And through that point. And again from the center, 0 point, through there. And if you draw this very, very accurately, take your time using the thinnest point that you can use, this will be an absolutely perfect pentagon. Again, tested it. I'll put the links in there. I'll put links to the earlier versions of Durer and a variation I found of my own. Now, what you'll also notice without changing the compass, so we have the 5. We have a pentagon. Pentagram. If I was to join the points, we would have a pentagon. And what's nice about that is that the original compass settings, if done properly, should come back to the point to point of the pentagram. Again, I'm just, because I'm using thick points, this is going to affect it, but it works. So now if you put that, find the original center. So we already have that circle. And now I'll go to the top there, where those, as accurate as you can to get it where they intersect. If I was to draw another circle, it should match up and pass through those points. So now where that circle, those two intersect, again it should go through those points of the pentagram. And now we just really just draw a seed of life. Just keep following that around each time the circles cut across one another. You start to see the seed of life, the petals emerging there in the center. And one final circle. Where am I missing? This one, sorry. Where these intersect. And again, I can see I'm a little bit out, but I'm struggling with the tripod and not being as thin as a point and being as accurate as I can. But now we've created a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can draw out. Now we have a hexagon. This is one of the reasons why beehives work like this. It's the most efficient. Nature insists on it. It's just the most efficient use of space. And do I have okay, we can also now make a Star of David. So I'm going to create a series of, so one, then I skip one. Draw a line. Now I skip a line again. So I'm making an equilateral triangle. So now I have 1, 2, 3 points left. I just draw them together. Now we have a 6/5 construction, which is geometrically perfect. Again, I think Kershaw intentionally drew his wrong. He didn't want a 108-degree angle. He wanted some of those angles to be 109.2 for very good reason. I'll link that in the notes. We can just do a pentagon around there as well. Now with this 6 and 5, you can also now do, for instance, make a three-dimensional soccer ball, because the soccer ball pattern is just a series of hexagons and pentagons. Because they're geometrically perfect, it should work. There are templates out there where you can print these things out. But pentagon, closing a pentagram, and because of the nature of the pentagram, the edge length of the hexagon is equal to the edge length of the pentagon. And there we have it. Pentagon or hexagram. In those microcosm imagery by those famed alchemists, one of the reasons why this connection is, again, I couldn't find direct connections between the hexagon, but they would have you'd see in the images, they would have a man with his arm extended and his feet extended. Pardon my artwork, but that's the famous macrocosm, microcosm image, is to have the man there and the head, 2 hands, 2 feet to create the 5. That's a terrible drawing, I know, but that's one of the reasons why that connection is. But that's the geometry if you want to draw it and create it. There's all sorts of beautiful phi golden number info going on in here as well. So these are I'll put some links in the description to the alternative imperfect methods, and also why I believe that Albrecht Dürer's geometry, why he did his incorrectly on intentionally to encode information.